Hi YouTube. So on this week's race video, we're going to go through the final of the Mintet Crit, which was the race that I talked about in my last race video where I qualified for the final, placed 10th, more or less, which means that in the final, I get to start in the top 20. This is an international fixed gear criterium. There's people in this race from all over the world, mostly Europe, and the goal of a lot of these people is qualifying for the Fixed Nations Cup the following year, which was the first ever kind of Fixed-Gear Criterium World Championships. I'm just going to run through this race with you guys. I didn't have power at this time. I don't know why, but as you can see by the metrics, it was a very, very fast, very hard race where I didn't know where I would stand against these guys because I hadn't raced at this level. My first race was earlier that day, the qualifying race that I talked about. So now what happens is the first few people from each of the qualifying races will race together in this, what they call Final A. I'm just going to run it through you guys and try to explain to the best of my ability what was going on. Let's get into it. We start, and my first goal is to go to the front. Racing at the front is safe, and especially at these speeds and with these kinds of bikes. In this race, there were almost 80 riders, and for me to get a good result, I would have to be in the top 20 to get points to qualify for said Fixed Nations Cup, World Championships, whatever you want to call it. So at the end of the first lap, attacks start going. I don't directly chase this big attack, just jump on this guy's wheel because, as you see, we're only a lap in. I'm already at 183 beats per minute, and we're going 50 kilometers an hour, which is very fast. So here on the right, we have a homie from Canada. Obviously, I'm from Portugal. This race is in the UK, so most of these people are British, but there's people from all over the world. There's a Brazilian guy over there. This guy on the left, Italian, very, very strong. Again, I mentioned in the last video that he podiumed at Red Hook Crit later this same year. So at this point, there's a breakaway. We're 3 laps in, a breakaway with not many riders, and no one from this, or rather this team didn't put anyone in the breakaway. So they're chasing. The last guy in their train there opened the gap, so I felt the need to go and close it. We do a little bit of work. I go to the front a little bit. We still have them in sight, and we try to get organized, but after a few turns, it's kind of all over the place. People are getting tired, and other people are throwing attacks, so we're back into race mode. I'm not sure where the breakaway is at this point. They're not far. The pace keeps getting pushed. As you see, we get to this. I believe this is us catching the breakaway, actually. Or no, that guy just opened the gap, and I go and close it to these 3 guys that you saw earlier were helping rotate to push the pace to catch the actual breakaway, which is still out. So we're about to finish the 4th lap, about a third of the race in. We're going pretty fast. I catch, or rather, I close this gap and then flick my elbow for someone else to come and help out. Again, remember there's dozens and dozens of people in this race, so there's a lot of people behind me. My goal is to stay towards the front, not use so much energy. That guy was done, so he just went into the bush over there. But you see here, 9 laps in, and I go towards the middle of the pack. You see it's a huge pack, a lot of people, and at this point, I'm just trying to bring my heart rate back down. It's in the 160s. I'm not sure if maybe it goes into the 150s, but it goes pretty low. And then once I feel recovered, a lap later, I start moving up. Here I'm yelling that I'm on the inside for people to not throw me into the grass. And I just slightly and slowly start inching towards the front. So here we're about 2/3 of the race in. The breakaway has been caught. The pace is still really, really high, and I feel attacks coming soon, so I'm going to move towards the front. At this point, we're going really fast, 47 kilometers an hour. As you can see, this guy goes. I follow his wheel as a great opportunity to just get towards the front. So here you see I'm in the top 10. Attacks are going. The pace is not as high as it's been, but it's about to pick up, so I need to be in this position. Here you see the guys from One Life Cycle on my left. This is James, very strong rider. Spoiler alert, he ends up winning this race, actually. So keep an eye out. And here with 3-ish laps to go, 4 laps to go. We're about to hit 3 laps to go. This guy opens a gap. I go and close it because we did that corner 54 kilometers an hour without being able to stop pedaling. So we're flying, and I take the momentum and I kind of go around this front group just to be in the right position. You see I get there and attack goes off, so I was just in the right place to follow these wheels. I let this guy slide in for me to rest a little bit. So then here we are about to enter 2 laps to go, or start 2 laps to go. There's 2 guys off the front. I'm not going to chase. I'm just literally trying to stay as much towards the front as possible. At this point in time, this is 2018. I don't have a sprinting goal. I don't have a position goal. I just want to finish as close to the front as possible because my goal here, traveling to the UK, was to qualify for Fixed Nations Cup in the following year. So we're 2 laps to go. Again, another gap that I have to close here to number 13. I'm not sure there's a breakaway at this point. I don't think so. These guys in front of me are really strong. There is a breakaway. There are 3 guys up there, and there goes Italian homie, closes that gap, making it 4. I'm at the front doing work, and people just keep attacking. So that was Jorg leading James out. Those 2-1 life cycle guys, very strong, and then everyone just kind of comes through. I wait for someone to come at a pace that I can follow their wheel. So you see we're going 58 kilometers an hour into this corner, and we can't stop pedaling. Remember, fixed gear, we have 1 gear, no brakes. Your legs are your brakes. You just have to keep pedaling. So we have really short crank arms on our bikes, which means that we can lean more on the corners without clipping the pedals on the ground. So you see there's kind of a group going with 1 lap to go. I'm chasing. Everyone's just attacking me and no one's helping. So I think now someone comes that I can jump on their wheel. Yeah, this team here helps me a little bit. So they start kind of just stretching out, following each other's wheels, trying to close that gap. It works pretty well. You see we keep them in sight over there. I'm really, really tired. 190 beats per minute at this point. The gaps are being closed. This guy in front of me is doing a really good job, catches this other guy and goes around him. And now I'm just following wheels. I'm completely spent. There's no sprint in me. There's no gap closing Andre in here, nothing. So I'm just going to follow wheels and finish in the best position that I can. So with only a few corners to go, this guy seems like he's getting to his limit, and people are coming around. So I'm going to find, I believe, another wheel to follow. So this guy here in front of me in the mash kit, Duke, one of my favorite people to follow on Instagram. Super, super cool guy, doing really, really cool things with bikes. So look him up if you don't know who he is. So then here on the back straight that is slightly downhill, this guy in the blue bike comes in hot. I pick up pace and am able to use momentum to jump on his wheel, going again almost 60 kilometers an hour with 1 gear. So I jump on his wheel. We take this second to last corner and then the last corner onto the finish straight really, really fast. We're all stretched out. There's no break per se, because everyone kind of like closed it, the breaks that happened. At this point the sprint is going on at the front. James wins, and then I just keep following the guy in the blue bike, which is a great wheel to follow. We pass a few guys before the finish line, and there is me crossing the finish line in 11th place. So that was really good. Out of almost 80 people, finishing 11th in what was my first international Fixed-Gear Criterium. So I end up qualifying for Fixed Nations Cup just by doing this race. I had scheduled in this trip to do 4 or 5 different races with the goal of accumulating points to qualify for Fixed Nations Cup. I did this first one in the UK, then went to the Netherlands, followed that by racing in Zurich, I believe. So in this trip, I ended up doing those 3 races. Fortunately, I got all the points that I needed to qualify in the first race, making me the only guy to represent Portugal at Fixed Nations Cup the following year. So that was Mintet Crit. Next, I'm going to do a video. Unfortunately, I can't find the footage for the race in the Netherlands, which was the race that I did after this, but I do have the footage for the Zurich race in Switzerland that I did after that in the same trip, which was insane. By far the hardest, well, next to with the Netherlands crit, the 2 hardest crits I've ever done. And if it wasn't for this specific Mintet crit, it would have been very hard to qualify for Fixed Nation. So look out for that video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Check out the merch. This hat, link in the description. Please consider helping me out on Patreon. I really love making these videos, and it's really hard to take the time to do it without making money. So if you guys can spare $5 a month, whatever it is, I'd really appreciate it. And so the link for that is below. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for another video.